The only thing I ever really cared about in my whole life was my older dog, Forty. And he really was too. That's how come him to get that name in the first place. Me and Ma and Pa had us a little older place out on the dry prairie in West Texas. It wasn't nothing to brag about, and hell, I never did figure out just how it was that Oli Pa was trying to make us a living. We had us an Oli moly cow and some scrawny Oli chickens. Pa had a swayback nag he read into town every now and then. But we sure as hell weren't making no money off a place. From time to time, only Pa would go off by himself for a few days and maybe even longer. And then he'd come on back home with some groceries and some money in his pocket. And most always, those times, a jug or two, a good whiskey. But I never knowed where the money came from. I don't know if Ma knowed or not, neither. If she did, well, she didn't seem to cane on. Reflecting back on it though, I reckon that he must have been up to no good. And we wasn't exactly what you'd call a happy family. Things was most pleasant when Pa was off somewheres, 'cause then him and Ma wasn't yelling around at each other. Most often, whenever Ma yelled at Pa and got the best of him, why then he turned to me. Neither one of them two seemed to give much of a shit about me, and that's probably why I cared so much for Forty. He cared about me. Me and Forty were like best friends. Well, it was one of the days Paul was going into town, and I whined around something fierce till he agreed to let me go on along. But I had to walk alongside him, riding on that old swayback. Only 40, he just naturally tagged along. When we got into town, Paul headed right straight for the salon, but he gave me a dime first and let me out on the street. Me and 40. I flipped that dime a time or two, feeling right well healed, and then I walked across the street to the general store, what was owned and run by Ollie Andy McFarland. And I went right inside there and bought myself some hard candy. Then I stepped outside, feeling like a real big shot, with a chunk of that candy poking my jaw way out. I was sucking on one, and I had some more down in my pocket. Why, if any of them snotty town boys had come around looking for trouble, I was sure in the right mood to wipe their ass. Only 40, he was just laying there right smack in the middle of the board sideways. And here come a damn old bastard. What looked to me like he was up to no good to begin with. He was a big fella, rough looking, and he sure needed to shave real bad. I couldn't tell if he was a farmer or a cowboy, or what by the way he was dressed. But he was some kind of a working man, I guessed. And he stopped right there, by 40, like he didn't want to have to step over no damn dog. "Get out of my way, you goddamn moth," he says, real guff like the Ole 40. And Ole 40, well, he done what he was best at. He farted. And it was a right smelly one too. Well, that old boy struck offense at that gesture of Fadi's. I guess he took it personal, and he went and kicked poor old Fadi in the side. Kicked him hard, knocking him clean up in air and off into the street. Fadi yelled at the kick, but he soon recovered from it, and he turned on that bastard and bared his teeth and snarled real menacing like. The bastard pulled a little sissy pistol out his pocket and shot Fadi dead, just like that. "You old son of a bitch," I shouted. I was genuine, horrified and outraged. There was some axe handle in a barrel right there by the door. into the general store, and I didn't take no one or think about what I was doing. I just grabbed one of them axe handle and I swung it as hard as I ever could. I hit the other boy across the head, and it sounded for all hell like I had hit a watermelon and split it, and he dropped down just like a sack of grain. Then I went and picked Fadi up and started walking out of town, heading home with him. I was bald too, like a damn baby. I told you I cared about Fadi. And oh, that was a long walk. I can tell you that. My arms were aching from the dead weight of poor old Fadi, and I was running tears that was making muddy rivers streak down through the dirt that was caked on my face. My legs was okay, cause I was used to walking, and even my bare feet wasn't both airing me none. Old Fadi's blood was on my shirt belly, and my arms, and I think that it was even on my face, where I had hung it. I wasn't even thinking none about that shit I had hit. I had hit him and forgot him. All I was thinking about was just only Fadi and nothing else. Well, I finally got out to the house, and Ma came out to see what was the matter with me. First thing she asked me, "Where's your pa?" I told her that he was still in town. I guessed. "How come you to come back home by your own self?" she asked me then. I told her that I didn't rightly know. I guess I hadn't even thought about Pa whenever all that had happened. I just hit that bastard and then picked up poor dead Fadi and headed for home. The last thing I knowed about only Pa, I told her. He had gone into the salon. And at long last, she seemed to notice that I was standing there with tears all down my face and my dead dog in my arms. And she come on out to me and she said, "What happened, Sonny?" "Fadi's dead," I said. "I can see that," she said. "But how did it happen?" "A man shot him," I said, "for no reason. The son of a bitch." She slapped me hard across my face then, and she said, Don't never use that kind of talk in front of me. You know better than that." I didn't say nothing. I just shut up and stared at her. "What do you mean for no reason?" she said. I told her what it was that happened, and I didn't leave nothing out, not even old Fadi's fault. I told her the whole story. Then she said, "You hit that man with the axe handle?" "Yes, I said. "You hit him hard?" she said. "Hard as I could," I said. "How hard do you think you hurt him?" she wanted to know. "I don't know," I said. "I think maybe I killed him. I didn't care neither." "Oh Lordy," she said, and she went to wailing and pulling her hair. "My only boy's done a killing? Lord God Almighty. What did I ever do to deserve this?" I turned and walked away from her, still carrying Fadi. I walked away out behind the house till I found a good spot for a burying. I laid him down there, real gentle like, and I knelt there beside him for a spell. I could hear Ma still caterwauling from way back there where I was at. It began to come to me then that what I'd done was some serious, but I was still a mourning soul for Fati, that it didn't really bother me none. Not just then, not yet. I finally got up and walked to the shed behind the house and got me old Fadi's shovel with a broke handle on it, and I walked back to where I had left Fadi. I dug him a good deep hole there, and I put him down in it and covered him up. Then I got 2 sticks and tied them together in the shape of a cross to make a marker for him, and I dropped that makeshift cross into the soft dirt that I had covered old Hardy up with. I didn't take the broke shovel back to the shed. I just tossed it aside. I stood there and mopped I mopped the sweat off my brow with my shirt sleeve. And then I finally realized that there wasn't nothing more that I could do, not for Forty and not for me. I walked back over the house. Ma was sitting at the table, just staring at the tabletop rail bank. Did you bury your dog? She asked. Yes, I said. I heard the plodding of a slow horse, and I went to the door and looked out. Pa's coming, I said. Ma just sat there,